Good afternoon, supply chain professionals. I'm Joe Tillman, program chair for the Global Virtual Roundtable, CSCMP member, and roving reporter for this year's conference being held here in sunny Southern California. And what a great time it has been so far. With me today is Tim Feemster. Tim, why don't you fill us in a little bit on how you got involved with CSCMP and how long you've been around and what you've done with them?
Okay, thank you, Joe. I've been around with CSCMP since the late 70s, early 80s, actually, because I think it's a very valuable organization to do education as well as networking. Over the years, they've expanded their scope to include a lot of overall supply chain issues, global supply chain issues, which back in the 70s and 80s we were really still looking internally to the United States. And as we've outsourced our manufacturing capacity to the globe, they've expanded their program, so it's been very good for me, especially from a networking perspective too.
Awesome. So, what kind of things are you currently working on with CSCMP, kind of on the volunteer level?
Well, I've actually been involved with the registration committee here at the conference virtually every year that I come, because I think that's it's one of the ways you can give back. It's something that you don't necessarily have to commit a lot of time for, except at the conference, and it's allowed me to stay connected with an awful lot of people from a network perspective within the conference. I've also, over the years, presented at the conference in tracks as well as roundtables, and I've done it also at the local roundtable level in multiple cities, Dallas and Nashville and some other cities around Chicago and some other cities around the country.
Awesome. And since this conference is almost coming to an end, shortly, another day and almost another half a day left. Networking receptions beginning soon. One of the most important part that everyone looks for, I'm sure. And could you kind of give us some general thoughts overall on this year's conference?
Well, I think again the conference has been very good because there's a lot of educational sessions. There's no pressure on you if you get into a session and find out it's not the right thing that you wanted to look at when it first was on the board. Then you can go to another session. Walk in and out. That's fine. I haven't had to walk out of any sessions this year because I really focused on which ones I specifically wanted to. And the networking again has been very good. This is a big venue. The advantage to that is that we're all in one place. We don't have to go between hotels or different buildings, so that the logistics of the logistics conference are not too complex. And it also helps us from a registration perspective because we didn't have to try to really explain to people how to get around, because we just said go up the escalators and everything is upstairs, so that really makes it good.
Definitely. And having been to these conferences, I'm sure you have a lot of golden nuggets of wisdom about for newcomers coming in and what they can do to really maximize their value while they're here. Do you have any good tips to share?
Yeah, I think that the real critical element is for the young people to make sure that they take every advantage of the education and network. Don't skip sessions. And when you sit down at lunch, I know this is hard to do sometimes, but sit down with people you don't know and make sure that you pass cards around, and make sure that when you interface with people, when you exit from those interfaces, write down on the back of the card some of the things you might have talked about with the client or with the person, so that if you go back and say a thank you note to the person via email, you've got some connection that you can put in there to indicate to the person you just met that you actually listened to what they said. So that's a networking tip anyway, but for new people, it is just so critical to expand your network and keep that network over time, because long-term relationships that I've built up over the years, there's just hundreds of people here that I continue to connect with every year, and although I don't do business with those people, I know that I can call them on the phone and ask them a question and or send them an email, and they will in fact respond from a professional perspective, and that's really great.
Yep, and you can also find a lot of good people to collaborate on articles with.
Oh, absolutely. That's it.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for coming in and doing this with us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Joe.
We hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.